Episode 6, The Small Army, Realm Pataliputra, 267 BCE. The palace courtyard smelled of iron, horse sweat, and the faint sweetness of burning sandalwood from the morning rituals. Shash stood among 31 other men. They were not the tallest, nor the most decorated. Most were scarred, quiet, eyes too old for bodies still in their 20s and 30s. They wore plain scale armor, darkened bronze, no gold trim, no plumes, no banners. Ashoka's personal guard. Not the ceremonial unit that paraded for foreign envoys. These were the 32 blades the emperor kept closest when he wanted something done without witnesses. Ashoka walked the line once. He carried no sword today, only a short bamboo staff. He stopped in front of Shash. "You still breathe like a scholar," he said. "Fix it." Then he moved on. Training began at first light and ended when the sun disappeared behind the western ramparts. No ranks, no titles, just pain. They sparred until joints popped and ligaments tore. They ran the palace walls carrying stones until lungs bled. They stood motionless for hours, holding drawn swords while Ashoka walked among them, tapping shoulders. Any man who trembled received a lash across the back. Shash learned to ignore the burn in his thighs, the acid in his lungs, the voice in his head screaming to quit. He learned to let the aura flow without thinking. Thin blue threads that wrapped the blade like smoke, making steel bite deeper, move faster. Ashoka rarely spoke praise. But once, after Shash parried a simultaneous strike from 3 guards and countered with a slash that drew blood from all 3 without killing, he received a single nod. That was enough. 3 months later, realm time, word arrived. Takshashila, the northwest frontier city, rich, rebellious, always half loyal, had openly defied the Mutax edicts. The satrap had been murdered. A local warlord named Pushyamitra had declared independence and fortified the city with mercenaries from across the Hindu Kush. Ashoka did not send a legion. He gathered the 32 plus 120 ragtag auxiliaries, border veterans, tribal spearmen, former bandits who had sworn blood oaths, and a handful of Greek deserters who knew siege tactics. 152 men total, against a city that could field 4,000. They marched northwest. Shash rode near the rear. He no longer apologized for existing. Takshashila outskirts. 2 months later, the city sat on a low plateau, ringed by ravines and 3 concentric walls. Pushyamitra's forces waited outside the gates, arrogant, expecting a long siege. They did not expect Ashoka to arrive at dusk with no camp, no siege engines, only 152 riders. The warlord rode out to mock them. 400 elite cavalry, Persian-style cataphracts, Greek companions, Indian heavy horse, formed a glittering crescent. Ashoka sat motionless on his black mare. He wore no helmet, hair tied back, plain linen tunic beneath scale armor. The Rakta-Khadga rested across his thighs. He looked at Shash. Once. "Stay back," he said. "Watch." Then he kicked his horse forward. Alone, the 400 charged. A wall of steel and horseflesh thundered toward one man. Ashoka did not draw until the first lances were 20 paces away. Then the aura ignited. Not the faint shimmer Shash had learned. A full storm. Crimson gold light exploded outward from his body. Blinding, searing. The air around him warped like heat haze over a pyre. He moved. Not human speed. Not even superhuman. Something else. The first rank, 8 horse riders in heavy mail, met him in a single heartbeat. Ashoka's blade rose in a slow, almost lazy arc. One swing. The sword passed through 8 men and 8 horses, not hacked, not chopped, cut, clean as a razor through silk. Heads, torsos, horse necks, forelegs. 8 vertical halves fell to the left, 8 to the right. Blood misted the air in a perfect fan. The second rank recoiled. Ashoka was already among them. He spun the blade in figure 8s, each rotation taking 2, 3, 4 riders. Horses screamed and collapsed in sprays of arterial blood. Men tried to turn and flee. Too slow. The aura extended the reach of the blade by 3 full feet. Phantom red edges that cut before the steel even touched. He reached the war elephants, 6 of them armored, howdahs filled with archers. Ashoka leapt, not from the saddle. From the ground, he landed on the first elephant's trunk, ran up its face, and brought the sword down vertically. The blade cleaved through skull, spine, howdah, and 2 archers in one continuous motion. The elephant collapsed forward, dead before it hit dirt. He leapt to the second. Same motion. Third, fourth. By the 5th elephant, the remaining cavalry broke. 400 became 100, became 30, became none. Ashoka stood alone in the center of the slaughter. The Rakta-Khadga dripped thick ropes of blood. His aura slowly receded. He looked back at the small army he had brought. Most of the 152 had not even drawn weapons. They stared at the field of corpses, at the emperor, at the boy from nowhere who had somehow earned the right to stand among them. Ashoka sheathed the sword. "Enter the city," he said quietly. "There will be no siege." Takshashila opened its gates that night. Pushya-Mitra's head was on a spike by morning. Shash walked the blood-soaked plain afterward. He counted. 1 man, 400 dead, and the blade had grown darker, red veins thicker, more pronounced. He understood then the sword did not just remember blood, it drank it. And Ashoka knew exactly how much it could hold before it turned on its wielder.